We're live. What's up, Jennifer?
Good morning, Jesse. How are you?
I am fantabulistically magical. That is how I am
Wonderful.
today. Having too much fun. Um,
You were like
what?
doing some travel stuff this week. Like you were in the mountains and you were like, I mean, I saw some cool pictures.
Yeah. I was. You saw? Did you see my feet pics?
Well, one, I saw the mountains that were beyond your feet that drew my attention way more than your feet.
Yeah, I was in Mesa, Arizona. I got to hang out with Brian Melcher and the Field Verified team, which was amazing. And I luckily picked a pretty awesome Airbnb. And so like that view from my feet, beyond my
Yes,
feet, that
yes.
was the
It was
view
really
from like
pretty.
oh, it was so awesome. It was good. It was hot, but it was a fantastic weekend. I got back home Tuesday night, and the time zone thing, man, kicked because I got there Thursday. So I was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I adjusted to their time zone, and then I came back home, and I've been all cattywampus. Um, Anyhow, it's been amazing, girl. What about you? What you been up to?
It's been a good week. I didn't have to travel much this week. I was in the office for some things, but I didn't have to travel. So I was able to do a lot more kind of just normal home routine. And the kids are going back to school next week. And so but I got a lot more Jennifer time in the mornings that I normally do because of traveling. So that part it's been huge. Yeah, it's been a really good week.
Good. And so did you crack the code on your time to establishing standards in your relationships?
I think we've been talking about this for over 3 years, you and I, between all the things we did back then and how we got started, and even now. I'm not sure we've got all the secret codes, but I know that we continue to get a little bit closer to making better decisions.
Agreed. I will echo that. And folks out there in the omniverse, that's what we're going to be talking about today, establishing standards in your relationships. And what that also means is we're going to share our perspective, but we want your perspective too. Like if you agree, you disagree, any and all of the above, let us know in the comments. And if you want more feet pics like Jim
No,
does. Oh, he said no more. That was
no
a
more
typo.
feet. Yes,
Oh,
no.
that meant more feet. What's going on, Mr. Jim? So I swear, Jen, and we'll see if I ever get enough time. The response I got to that post of my feet pics,
Mhm.
I'm like, it's enormous. Like I got tens of thousands of impressions and hundreds of comments and shares, and I'm like, maybe I
No,
do need to
no,
start a feet pick only fan page. What do you think, Jen? No?
no. Even though the feet are way safer than some of the things you've shared, that if I had to pick between like the paddleboard or some of the hammock, like I think I'll go with the feet.
Yeah. Or okay, what about this? What if I did a course that was like how to blow up on LinkedIn with pictures of your feet? What about that? No?
I'm not
Oh,
sure.
okay.
You may not get as much. They may like him, Jesse. They may think you're like funny. I'm not sure people want to know how to do that.
Then okay, maybe I'll just
Oh,
let it go. Oh, look at that. We got Mr. Abbas. Oh,
yes. Good morning.
he says blue heart. So, folks, you already know that's the signal. Swarm, support him, connect. Um,
Yes.
so, we are going to be talking about establishing standards in your relationships, and you just help me define one of my standards going forward, which is you have to be okay with me posting feet pics. But before we get like diving into it, Jen,
Yes.
like, well, let's do the housekeeping so we can make sure everybody knows the deal and we can get rolling.
Okay. So if you're out there and you're listening and you've been here before, that is wonderful. Welcome back. If you are just rolling across our screen for the first time and you're wondering what are these two hooligans going to talk about and doing on the screen with our crazy faces and hands and everything else, welcome. And then those of you that maybe have been here before and you've listened, but you haven't really engaged in the conversations or answered any of the questions, that's okay because we love you too. But if you've never typed anything in the comments before, or if this is your first time coming across us, if you will add a blue heart in the comments. That's it. We're not asking for a heavy lift right now. A blue heart just signifies to us, but also to our tribe, that you are kind of a first timer, either commenting or coming across the feed. And the blue heart lets us know you're there, but also it lets our tribe know so they can jump and connect with you and get engaged with your feedback. And it also will get you in the randomizer. What is that?
Yes, thank you, Jen. And to reinforce what Jen said, when you drop a comment or an emoji, like for real, if you just want to get in the randomizer, all you got to do is drop something in the thing. And that'll get you in the hopper, which if your name gets picked, we'll do it at the top of the hour. If your name gets picked, you will get a free seat to the August session of, August, June. Yeah, we're in freaking August, Jen.
Yes.
Emotional bungee jumpers and the cultivation crew. And this one's pretty cool because the cultivation crew, we're kicking off the series of quiet contribution. So drop your comments, drop your emojis, because I'd love to see your name in there. I still have some invites to send out, but that's what we got going on. And of course, your insights, your thoughts, your experience are really what bring the value to this conversation, because otherwise it would just be Jennifer and I yapping along, and we do that all the time anyways, right, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, so where did this idea of establishing standards in your relationships, where did that come from? What's the root of this whole thing?
Well, the root of what we've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 sessions was how Jesse and I got kicked off and connected in the first place. Was about over 3 years ago. We collided and we started talking about some content that you had that you kind of were like, how do I get this out in the world? And so you and I decided we were going to do some live streams on 5S how it relates to personal relationships. So taking kind of a lean methodology and applying it to personal relationships. And so we did that a little over 3 years ago, and really got a lot of engagement. People were like, oh my gosh, yes, this is a great conversation. That led to us. They didn't want us to go away. So then we launched No BS with Jen and Jess to really have these authentic, vulnerable conversations. And then they were like, okay, can we have the cliff notes of all that 5S personal relationships? And then that caused us to then write a book with the content. And so that was, again, over 3 years ago. And now we were like, hey, we've got a lot more experiences and a lot more things that have happened in our lives over the last 3 years. How about we relaunch the conversations and kind of reflect a little bit on what we talked about back then, but also engage our new tribe members and even talk about some of our newer experiences.
Yeah. So I got a little bit more to add to that, but thank you, Jen. It's very clear. Yes. And look, shout out to Bhaskar. Hit him up. Thank you for showing up in the comments, my friend, and bring your experience, ask your questions, because we're going to be talking about relationships. Yes. And so this idea of standardizing relationships is chapter 4 in the book, right? Yep. And we're built it on the 5S framework: sort, set, shine, standardize, sustain. And there is a whole library of the first series of conversations that we had. That, you know, what we probably should do, Jen, is have another watch party and watch them side by side, right? Yeah. Watch standard from the first time to this time and say, like, what in the world, freaking squirrels?
There's no need. There's no need to go back. Sometimes, you know, there's a point where we're here and that's what we lived, and now we're living a different world, right? Living in a different world right now. It's better to just focus on what's next. We don't need to go back.
Well, and speaking of what's next, right? What we're going to be talking about today and what the book is based on is really about our professional and personal relationships with other human beings. Mm-hmm. Well, what next? Look at that. We got Mr. Mario. What's going on, big dog? Super, super supportive, coming in from the ATX. What's next is like our relationship with ourselves or something like that, Jen?
It is. And I think as we have continued to talk about these things, and they've been woven into a lot of our conversations over the last couple of years, some things were surfacing, some topics that people were digging into and jumping into. And it was a lot about like the relationship we have with ourselves, and how do we self-reflect, and how do we, you know, like set boundaries and things that have to do with us and decisions and choices we can make versus projecting these things out onto other people. And yes, so we've started looking at a structure. And what could that look like with a very similar format, but looking at it from a self view?
Ooh, so what I heard is we're going to dive deep into that stuff, and hopefully, well, here's what I want to do. When we go there, Jen, I want to go so far that it makes me uncomfortable. Ooh. Because I know if it makes me uncomfortable, it's going to terrify other people and activate them into examining their thinking. And that's the whole point, right? How can we contribute into somebody's life, just one person? So we got to go there. But before that, we're going to talk about establishing standards in your relationships.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say, when I think of standards, whether like in the relationship context, the work context, etc., lean, whatever, what I hear is expectations and commitment.
Okay.
That are two different things. But when they're paired together, it reinforces the, we'll say, adherence or execution of the standard. So establishing standards from in Jesse land is really about communicating expectations and securing commitments. Am I making it too, am I overcomplicating it?
No, you're not. I think for me, when you said that, the things for me, and maybe it's where I'm at in my world, but it's the boundaries. That's to me what it is. It's and it doesn't mean like, hey, I'm protecting myself. These are the boundaries that I'm working within, and you're welcome to come in if you're able to respect those. And if you're not able to, if you're not willing to respect those, kind of that accountability piece. So I think it feeds into exactly what you said.
Yeah. Good. And folks, by no means, I'm gonna tell you, like the way I think works really well in Jesse land. So take what's useful to you and then discard the rest. Unless you want advice on feet pics, I could hook you up. Man, we got some people popping in.
Come on.
All these awesome people. Oh, yeah, look at that. We got Mr. Gary coming in from the ATL, who had another level of bravery for him. He got the Field Leaders Planning Toolbox. And then he put that thing into practice and blew it up. Like he's a gamer.
Nice.
We're going to see him at Congress. So Gary, you got to tackle us and get a selfie with us.
Yes.
And folks, I think this might be the first time. Maybe he's been on here before. Anyways, he's a Blue Heart.
Okay, Blue Heart.
Support him, right? We got Miss Sarah, who did her first solo boy bass live stream yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, so happy for you. Yeah, actually, I owe you a call, Sarah, because I got to check in, make sure my sister's doing phenomenal. The Uncommon Communicator says, "What's up, y'all? Love spending time with me." Yeah, bro, me too. I love
more. And he's gonna have more with us because he won the randomizer last time.
He did, and I owe you an invite. I haven't forgot about you, James. I'm just a slacker. We got another Congress troublemaker. Have you seen his acting skills, Jen?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, you got a crew together that I'm going to say, I don't know. I think they were handpicked because they all they just stepped in line. Like they were just like, I feel like they'd done improv that I'm just not aware of.
Terry, like I don't know, he just came out. So Terry's going to be listening. He's on his bike ride. I super appreciate that, my friend. And thanks for popping in before you start spinning them wheels. And then we got Mr. Bobby L. He says yes, and he's got awesome stuff there. Okay, so folks, you already know everybody. All the folks that we just flashed up on the screen, they are in the randomizer. But I think maybe we should get this conversation started. So, first question. We've talked a little bit about boundaries and commitment and expectations. So the question to all you amazing folks out there in the Omniverse is, how often do you actually talk about expectations in your close relationships?
Jesse,
right?
I know you're not frozen. I know you're not frozen. So we're going to go with you first.
So I'm going to answer this two ways because I want to give people some time to chew on the question, right? Yes, the answer is yes. I talk about expectations in my close relationships a lot, all the time. But most of the time, it's complaining about people not meeting my expectation. Right? Like full compassion people. I'm like, hey, yeah, expectation, and they didn't do this and they didn't do that. And da, 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 da. So I'm complaining about people not having met my expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go even further to say that friggin' everybody does that. They're really good. We are really good about that, right? She said, he didn't, he should have, he could, like all of that. That's not what we're talking about here in this question.
Nope.
Am I wrong, Jen?
Nope.
And so in the question, what I'm hearing is like, how often do you actually come to an agreement or an understanding on what each party's expectations are in the relationship, like setting the stage for amazing communication, for understanding, for collaboration? How often do we have that conversation up front? And I heard an awesome quote the other day. And the dude, he was talking, anyways, he was like a dating coach, because I'm going to become a certified dating coach, Jen. This all stems from my feet pics. Anyways, he was talking to somebody. He's like, okay, did you communicate what your expectations were in terms of how you like to be appreciated, how you like to be communicated with, how you like to be touched, etc.? And she's like, well, I don't know, that's like really uncomfortable. He says, okay, so it's easier for you to get naked with somebody than it is to talk about expectations. And I'm like, damn, like slap in the face, right? And so I want to put that out there for folks. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are married or have a romantic relationship. For real. Did you have a communication about the expectations in your relationship before you got naked? All right. Because I know the answer is no for me, but that's been a long time. Anyways, I also want to give our tribe out there in the Omniverse something easy to like put their hands around. And one of the simple things that anybody can copy paste around communicating expectations in a relationship, close relationship, professional, doesn't matter, is I have developed a habit of letting people know the best way to communicate with me. I'm very clear about if you need something, email is not the way to communicate with me. Like, I will read it eventually, and I'll respond to it even later than after I read it, right? Because I have a way that I deal with it. If you call me, I am probably not going to answer. It's not because I don't like you. It's because I'm giving my attention to something or somebody else in that moment. If you text me, you will get the quickest response from me. And so I know that's kind of maybe come across as mechanical or clinical, but in terms of communicating expectations in a relationship, that's just one of my examples of, and after having that, it's filtered out a lot of the assumptions that people fill in because I'm not answering the phone or because I'm not responding to their emails and so forth. They're like, oh, if I need them, it's text. What do you think about that? Is that too weak, Jen?
No, it's not. And so I'm going to dig a little more. So I'm going to tell you what I heard. Then I'm going to ask a question, and then I'll answer the question. So what I heard is that you are trying to be clear about here's kind of here's what I expect, and here's how I function, and then it gives them the choice to engage or not. So that's what I heard.
Yes.
But we've also talked a lot about some maybe where you didn't do this in some earlier relationships, where what does spending time with you look like versus what someone else means. And so I think a context would help on how for me, it's like, this is proactive or reactive. And I think people, they do it one way or the other.
Yeah. Totally. Reactive is easier, right? Because then I get to blame the person.
Yes.
I'll tell you what I tried that didn't work, and I learned the hard way. 2 examples. One real quick. I thrive, like I absolutely need alone time, right? Like hermit in the dungeon time. And so in one relationship, I communicated. I was like, look, I need a lot of alone time. Like when you have my attention, you have all of my attention. But that doesn't mean you're going to have all of my attention all the time. And when I'm focused on something, I am focused on that thing. In my brain, I communicated the expectation. What was missing is she didn't understand what I meant by alone time. What she understood was we're in the same space and I'm focused for a couple of hours. And what reality was is 2 or 3 or 4 days of complete freaking solitude every week.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of communicated, like set the boundary or the expectations, right? I set the table so that there was some understanding, but the kind of like you said, maybe not the nuance or the context was missing. And so I learned that I had to go, like, I need to be super, super explicit. But here's the thing, when I'm super explicit about it, people are like, sure. I'm like, oh no, like for real. Like, this is how it is. Another example, it was a work project that I had to go in and fix, which was not fun. And it was going to be a disaster. It was going to be 6 months of hell, 7 days a week, 16 hours. And I told the person I was dating, this was a different person. So folks, if you can't see, there's a trend here. I said, I got this project I got to go take it over and it's going to suck the life out of me. And I'm not going to have time. I'm not going to be available. It's going to be a few months. And she said, oh, like, I understand. Okay. And then I didn't call her for 4 or 5 months. In my head, I was very clear about I'm going to give all my attention to this thing. But that's not like I needed to go deeper. So maybe the point or the takeaway here is when I think I'm being clear about my expectations or setting expectations, I'm probably not. And I don't think I'm the only one, Jen. What do you think?
Well, I agree that, and so I guess for me, a couple of things I want to say just in my engagement with you, like you said it, like you need some time away. And I've also realized that when Jesse's focused on something in this world of technology, all of you right now can think of that one person that if the phone rings, they're going to answer it. If they're eating dinner, if they're in bed, if they are in a movie, like it doesn't matter. Those people that like just have to answer the phone, and because they don't want to miss out on something or whatever the reason, their role, whatever it is. That's not Jesse. So I'm just going to be clear that if he's in a mode where he's working or he's doing something, like he's not going to answer the phone. And it doesn't mean anything other than he's doing something else, which is normal. And we should be okay with that. But we're in this world of like, oh my gosh, somebody didn't answer the phone. And so one, now you know, but two, like you have to understand that you get to make the choices of what your boundaries are, what your expectations are, what you're doing. And you can't apply those and put those on someone else. And so like when I'm dealing with Jesse a lot, but when I engage with Jesse and I call, he will usually not answer the phone. And at first it was like, well, damn, but he's also a voicemail guy. So when he calls me, he always leaves voicemails. I never leave voicemails. And so he really doesn't even know why I'm calling other than I may have had 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And so I had to change some of my behaviors because of our interactions. And it was purely because like, if I needed him to call me back, I needed to give him some context. And he said that like context is important it's someone that most of you have those people that you engage with all the time. And if they are people that have boundaries or have expectations or they're doing something, like starting something that helps them understand this is important, this is not important. I think that we don't talk about that piece enough. And so engaging with Jesse specifically, it's not personal. He's not ghosting me, all those things. Like those are conversations where people can take those things personally and then feel like, well, fine, then I'm just not going to call him back. I've seen it and I've heard it. And I've even had people like say something to me about it. And I was just like, ooh, that was weird. Cause I don't think about it like that. So just when it comes to Jesse. But for me, the question, just we put the question back up there, and then I know we have tons of people commenting.
We got a lot of comments.
I know. So it's how often do you actually talk about expectations? I know before it was 100% reactive to when I was in the middle of something and I got pissed off and I got mad and I got frustrated, and my expectations came out in a very angry, very attacking way.
That's the problem.
And,
yes.
And it was their fault for not understanding what I needed or what was important to me. And it was like I was justified 100% on being angry and mad because they weren't respecting me, or they didn't understand what was important to me. Yeah. And I think through a lot of the conversations we've had and feedback from other people, I've realized 100% of that is on me. And when you're reactive to something in the heat of the moment or whatever, like there is no way that is going to help something except make whatever's wrong worse, versus early on, like being able to put the parameters in. And Jesse, you said something that I think is very important. When you're clear and you think you're clear, because Jesse said he was clear. What did you just hear? Ask that question. Because when they go, okay, I get you. You're going to be busy for a couple of months and you're not going to have time for me. Let me be clear. That is not what Jesse said. Like, I mean, it's what did you just hear? And ask them that question, because they've got their own filters as well. They've got their own things that they're here. You're saying the words and then they're putting it through all their calculations and everything. And they're go, okay, this is what it means. It's usually not the same thing.
Right. Right. And that was like, I should have said, like, if I would have asked, what did you just hear? I would have got a response that would have said, oh no, what I meant was I might text you once in the next 6 weeks. Because that's exactly what I meant, but I didn't say it. Like I didn't. Yes. I became victim of my assumptions, right? Assuming that we had the same frame of reference, and we do that all the time. Now I want to go to the comments because, man,
oh my gosh, because there's a ton of them, and they're new people, so like I want to hear from them.
Yes. Well, they're not all new. You remember this guy?
Mike, where have you been?
Hi, man.
He's like an early guy, he's in the book.
Oh man, he's changing the world out there in St. Louis. Mike, appreciate you taking the time to come in and continue supporting. We got Miss Samantha. Oh, look, I'm getting called out. Oh no, we got Noah. Noah, oh, what's up, Nowinski? Blue Heart. He's a witness. He's seen all the dirt. If y'all want dirt on me, talk to Noah. He's got it. He knows all the stuff. Where is it? We got Miss Alejandra, who sent us some resources on this subject. So good morning, Dr. Alejandra. Amazing person.
I got to meet her in person. You got to meet her in person.
That doesn't happen I think she's going to be at Congress, so everybody can meet her in person. And, you know, I didn't mean to get people in trouble, but we often do get people in trouble with this stuff.
Because no disclaimers. We put no disclaimers out there, Jim. Like, you know when you're jumping on, you have no idea where it's going.
We should probably have a disclaimer, right? Warning, watch with your significant other with care. Careful, right? Get some supervision. A boss says we're talking about real stuff. All right, so oh, here's another one. Mario's like, you're full of it, Jess. You haven't responded to my take. You're right. You're right. Like I'm not batting 1,000, but it's better than
someone else said they're still waiting for a phone call back for golf. So you got people all over the place calling you out right now.
Yes, but look, I'm not the only one. My sister Samantha says unread text right now, 162. So clearly, don't text Samantha if you want a response, right? Same thing with me. Don't email me if you need a response right away. Or clearly any other way doesn't really work either. But so here's an important point that Samantha is bringing to the table. It also sounds like you're assuming communicating expectations will cancel out how someone feels about a situation or an experience. I love the point. What do you think about it, Jen?
Well, you and I talk about this a lot. we can't should on somebody.
Yes.
We can't, like, they shouldn't feel that way. They shouldn't, be mad. They should, like, you have no authority or permission to tell people how they should react.
Right.
You cannot like it. You cannot agree with it. You can even think they're overreacting. You have that ability yourself because they can't tell you not to. But you have no authority to tell someone how they should feel or how something should impact them. You don't have that authority.
Yeah, I agree. I'll echo that. My expectations, boundaries, rules, however you need to look at them, because we talked about this last week, right? The way or last time we live streamed, I see rules and boundaries as two very separate things. Rules are the agreement you and I come to terms on how we're going to play together.
Yep.
So they're public, they're shared. Rules. Boundaries are personal. It is up to me to maintain that boundary. And so, and maybe echoing a little bit about what you said to Samantha's point here is, no, I'm not assuming that it's going to make, like, how it's going to cancel out how they feel. I just know that this is where I stand.
Yeah.
And I would love it if you loved it. But if you don't, I understand.
Yes.
Right? I totally get it. And so and maybe there's another really important point here that I also see a lot of my people that I communicated the expectation. I told them what my boundary was and they still violated it. Right. So you have a decision to make, not them. This is not about making people happy. This is not about making people feel good. This is about helping people understand what to expect from me, and maybe have an agreement on how we're going to play. So is it crass and rough, maybe a little abrasive? It can be. And I have decided that is okay, because when I'm tiptoeing around, walking on eggshells, trying not to offend people, I am less effective and I cannot deliver and serve to the degree that I am designed to deliver and serve. So maybe there's another expectation. When I talk to people, I'm like, hey, when I got something to share with you and it's going to be stinky. It's going to sting, right? I've been
a recipient of that.
And so I think people understand, like, okay, this is the way you're going to bring it. And, like, don't get me wrong, there was a long period of time in my life where I was like, well, this is me. And if you don't like it, you don't, like, I was really obnoxious about it. Now it's just, I know how I can better serve. And if people need to be coddled and need a lot of sympathy and need a lot of, they want to talk about the same problem for 10 years, I'm not good for them. I'm not going to help them. There's other people that are better equipped to serve them. So why change my mode of operation to accommodate everybody? Why not maintain the mode of operation that I know helps me serve to the greatest degree and also helps those other people figure out that they just need to go find somebody else? I'm not their guy. What do you think, Jen?
Yes. And well, if you haven't, like, hung out in person with us, obviously y'all are with us every other Saturday morning and you probably get a glimpse of this, but both of us, I think it's why we can jive, is like, I will entertain a conversation that maybe mention something that's happened in the past. Okay. I'll entertain it. I'll even probably engage in a conversation that right now we're dealing with this thing, but most of my brain power, most of the things that drive me that I'm passionate about have to do with what's next. And like, that is the way I function. So again, you'll get a little time here. I'll let you talk a little bit here, but, like, if you are thinking about what's next and tomorrow and how we change it and how we get, like, that's the world that I swim in. So I have to make sure that I've identified that. Now I have to make sure I'm communicating that, because there are people that get very offended. And it goes to what Jesse just said. The people can get very offended because of the time that I give them or the response that I give them. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's where they are. I've just realized that this is where I'm at, and this is not where I want to be or where I want to stay. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with either of those, other than if you don't communicate it, then what people feel, what people see, even you communicate it, that still may get their feelings hurt because they're not where you are. And that's okay.
Yes, 100%. I think there's a couple, man, I don't think we're going to get to the.
I know, we got so many comments.
So Mario brought up, so we knew we need to give others an example to put our expectations in perspective to their understanding. Mario, I know I do. I've got proof. I've got evidence of what that actually looks like. And I'll add this, doing it professionally is way easier. Rather, I do it better or more often professionally than I do it in my personal relationships. I'll give you an example. Back when I had a real job, I would go visit projects and I needed executive support. And so I would visit the job and I would see things that are really, really awesome. And then I'd see some big rocks that they needed to focus on. And they needed motivation beyond what I could provide. So I would go back to the executive, send them an email and say, hey, here's the update. Here's what I saw. These things are freaking clicking. Please reach out to or find a way to recognize these people. And then I would say, and there's a big gap in this situation. Please connect with these people to find out what resources and support they need to move the needle on the thing, which is explicit, right? This is what I need from you, which is very different than when I said, hey, I'm going to be pretty busy for the next 6 months. So Sarah, and it is messy, right? And Sarah, I love and totally appreciate you being vulnerable about this. She says, I am messy. I told my husband, who's a tidy type of guy, that if there is something on the floor, it doesn't bother me. So that is something that is a problem for him. He is welcome to pick it up. It doesn't bother me. So if that will be a problem, we need to figure this out now. Jen?
Very clear expectations.
Yep. Right. This is where I'm at. This is where you're at. Let's get it now. She also adds another important point where she says, sometimes you don't know you needed to set the expectation until you start having issues. Agreed. And I'm going to add to that. I absolutely set expectations with my husband in many ways prior to committing to the relationship. I had already made that mistake twice. And there it is, right? That's the point is, yes, a lot of times we've got to come back and reconcile, get clear about what expectations were, because it's rear view mirror, oh shit, we got a problem. But I promise you, the problems you have on one relationship, and I don't care if it's a work relationship or your wife, your husband, your side dude, your side chick, or all of the above, you're going to repeat that same problem. And so be like Sarah and don't do it again. You understand what that is so that you can inform all your future interactions with other human beings. What do you think, Jen?
Well, okay, I want to ask, because we have a conversation about an example that, yes, and because this is super important, we go in, we have expectations, because these are things, this is the world we've been functioning in. This is it. And when we're going into a new friendship, relationship, interaction, partnership, whatever that is, we're bringing all of that baggage with us because this is how we functioned in the past. And an example, and this is an example that the way that I used to show up to present, the way that I used to prepare to go live and be in front of people. Okay.
Yes.
So, and I've done that for a while, Jesse. Before you and I even connected, I presented a lot. I was in front of a lot of people, and I had a cadence. I had something that worked for me, and people just needed to get out of my way and let me go through my brain, get all the things, get everything worked up, get everything, go through all of these things so that I felt prepared. And then I met Jesse, and then again, he doesn't function like that. So the expectation was, Jesse, we're about to go live. What's the agenda? What am I saying? What are you saying? What are we talking about? We've got to fill an hour and 15 minutes. And what's the plan? And I mean, he was like, okay, I see where she's at. I'm going to try to help her out a little bit. And so, and this was something new for me. And so we started going, he was trying to help, but also that's not how he worked. But I needed to do what always was successful for me. And it was a disaster because we were trying to fit. And so what my point is, and then I want all of your commentary, is I had to also be open to hear and listen and take feedback on maybe the way it was working was not what I needed to do going forward.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Well, I'm going to go there, but there's some comments that I want to make sure that we touch on because they're really, really valuable. Mr. Bobby says dividing time can be complicated. Yes. Right. Getting clear about what and again, this isn't, I need to tell everybody what my schedule is and they need to abide by my schedule. This is I need to be freaking clear by that between 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. I am not scheduling any meetings unless, of course, I'm getting paid and I'm doing my song and dance or taking feed pics. And I need to maintain that, right? And so it is complicated because some people want an early morning, whatever it is, it's like, that's up to me to maintain. So it is complicated, but I do know the easiest way for me to make it easy is to just set my boundary, my expectation, and adhere to it. And this ties to what you're saying, Jen. Mr. Bruce, how you doing, Mr. Bruce? He says, I'm so impressed that you guys are still at it. Consistency trumps passion, but if you got both, you are unstoppable.
Thank you.
Bruce, thank you, man. He's been a fierce supporter, a lot of James Gable, Jim Couture. Super, super appreciate that we haven't bored you out of your mind over the past 4 years. But that ties to Jen, like for real, this is, I think you and I have had this relationship, the live stream and the thing that we're doing, longer than my longest marriage. I don't
even know what to say to that.
Yeah, like for real. And that's kind of a big deal. And so back to what you were talking about, right, is like the expectations and understanding and standards and the iterative nature. That's what I was hearing from you. Is when we started, you had a method, a mode of operation, and I have whatever the hell it is you want to call what I have.
Yes.
Now, we never said, wait a minute, these are the boundaries. These are the rules of the game.
Right.
What I was doing, I knew I could see like this person has a heart for people. And I think we can help each other grow and we can serve people and have a major impact. Mm-hmm. So, and that is ultra, way more important than abiding by my rules. Mm-hmm. So when we first came together, that first collision, there was no standard, right? And so what I was doing, and this speaks to like the iterative nature of establishing standards, is let me read and understand what you respond to, what's too far out of bounds, and establish that. And okay, then we'll approach it this way. But I know I want to get her to relax and have let's have more fun. So I'm going to go I'm going to take a couple steps in your direction, but not all the way. Mm-hmm. And so over time, over iteration, we developed a standard of interaction and prep and all the things for what we do today. Now, there was also like my brother, Mr. Russell Padilla, and I love it that he used that, right? Cuss and discuss. Some of the workshops or consulting things that I do, collaboration sessions, that's the title of it. We're going to have a cuss and discuss session. And what that means is that it is okay. Like we are going to have conflict. We're going to have disagreement. We're going to say that's bullshit. That's awesome. That's weak sauce so that we can get clear. And that was the one, like, it's interesting because you and I interacting together and going down this path, we never had to have that discussion. We both kind of operate that way with the willingness to go to the conflict, have the hard conversation, call weak, call good, and so forth. And so that being an expectation of, can we go to conflict, right? We are not going to avoid conflict. we're going to speak directly and say, I think, I feel, I want. Those are gigantic. And I think that is, again, without us having spelled it out, it's what we were learning and observing from each other. And maybe there's another point there. Like you were observing, studying me, and you were adjusting, and I was observing and studying you, and I was adjusting. So we were doing these micro calibrations along the way, which set the standard. Now, we're lucky that happened.
Yep.
Because it doesn't always happen. And so maybe that's the point, right? We're going to find amazing people in our life that we can be calibrating in alignment and to have a standard of understanding. But it's almost always obvious right out of the gate that they don't know how to calibrate, or they don't care to calibrate. Or I know when I meet certain people, I'm like, I ain't even trying for this damn person because X, Y, Z. And in those cases, that's when the flag goes up and says, okay, what are the expectations? Maybe we need to sit down and get clear about some of these things, because we are not going to be naturally, organically aligning. We need to have a clear, harder conversation about standards. What do you think, Jen?
Well, yeah. So I want you to pull up a comment, because I feel like I can tie this together a little bit. So there's a new person, Drew, who I saw a comment from him. And so I want to highlight him and celebrate him, but also tie it to what we just. So Drew is one of the people on a team that is doing some video for Congress. And so his company, Harp and Sling, is doing the video. So this is why this ties together, is that, so we, a couple of weeks ago, we're doing some promo things, and I want Drew's also, I'd love his feedback as well, Keon and I were doing some video stuff, and it was really cool because of, I think it was a moment where I realized how far I'd come. And it started with me having to, one, trust you, and two, see and be open to, hey, like, you saw things I didn't see. You saw some places I could go that I couldn't even envision. So I had to go, okay, I got to trust him a little bit, but also know that, that I do want bigger and I do want more and things like that. But Drew was one of the videographers, and we were doing some stuff, and it was really cool in a moment like that to be able to say, hey, here's what you're going to say. Here's what you're going to do, whatever. And then, like, are you ready? I'm ready. And we went and I said it, and it was like no stress, no worries, in a very important video shoot that is going to be across. And it was like, this is where I'm at right now. There's no way 3 years ago that I wasn't needing the script ahead of time, needing to okay, what is the word? What am I doing? Where am I saying what? Like all the things. And I felt it because you saw it, of where I was before, getting up in front of people and talking. And it was just really cool to, like, a full circle moment of having video, and like, I got it. We're good. We'll figure it out. It's no big deal. And I'm not saying I don't need a script. Let's be clear. But my need to be able to know every single word I need to say, this, where I was before, our live streams, and even now outside of you and I, like on stage, those kind of stuff, it's a completely different world I couldn't even have envisioned.
Yeah. I regret deleting the video, but was it 2019, 2020? No, it wasn't 2019. It was in New Orleans.
I was in New Orleans.
Jen was prepping for a presentation she was doing, and I could see she was looking at her cards, and she was going through her prep. And I'm like, man, that don't look fun. I'm gonna record it, because now it's like oh yeah, we got like a totally different thing. But I think, like Samantha, yes, you're picking up on it, right? Expectations, and like for real. Expectations are really just our preferences, and they don't always fit reality.
Yes.
Like that is a profound, and I'm going to say, like, that's not just on one-on-one professional relationships. That's also within businesses and companies, right? Like for real, every company has their own preferred set of expectations. If I don't like them, I could walk my ass out and go find another job, right? Yep. Complaining about what their expectations are and saying that they're overbearing or whatever it is. Get the hell out of there. right? Leave and find find the people or organization or person that's their flavor, their preferences align with yours. I mean, that's just how I see it now. Expecting people to conform to what I want, prefer, and like to say I need, that's just a recipe for irritation. Noah giving me an amazing review. He says Jesse's very good at constructive criticism. He's like a damn professional. Poor
Facts.
Well, Noah, Jen, you should talk to Noah. I met him when he was an apprentice, journeyman, foreman, and now he's a friggin' superintendent. So he was a victim of my early application of all the things I talk about now, which means like I was very abusive. Like I sucked. Like in today's world, I would have been fired because of the way I treated people and the way I talked to people. And so, all right, we got 9 minutes before we do the randomizer. And right now we've got 18 entries. So folks, quick reminder, if you just popped on, you drop a comment, leave a blue heart, whatever in the comments, that's going to get your name in the randomizer. And then when we do the randomizer, you get a free seat for the month of August with the Emotional Bungee Jumpers and the Cultivation Crew. And man, we only touched on one question.
I know we have one question. We had like 4, and that's okay. But there's like everyone's engaged, which is this is what we want. So usually we rather dig into what they say versus what we're saying.
I love it. So let's pop. Here's the next question for the Omniverse. Like, come on, baby, spill your tea. What is one commitment that makes a big difference in your relationships? And so now I want to be clear here because there's a lot of commitments that I make, like in my brain, that I don't say, this is my commitment to you. Mm-hmm. But I know that sticking to that as one of my values, it has made the biggest difference in my relationship. So for clarity, folks out there, I'm not necessarily saying like you don't have to have told somebody, this is my commitment to you, right? But it is a personal commitment that you've made with yourself that you follow through on the regular that has made a huge difference in your relationships. Did I stretch that too far, Jen?
No, I think it's good. Commitment to me, boundary. I mean, those are the things that they go together to me.
Yep. So what's your answer to this, sister?
Ooh, this one's a big one, and it's one that's across the board where I can see where people struggle with it and where people value it. And and I don't so much. I think I've never said, this is my commitment. This is what I do, and I need you to be okay with it. But what it is, and I didn't realize it early. I didn't realize it till, I guess, how I can articulate it till the last couple of years. And you know this, Jesse, is I am a person that I don't like drawn out things. Like whether you're trying to tell a story, whether we're done talking, whatever it is. I also am very respectful that I hang around very high-performing people. So let me just put those things out there. So if Jesse, you and I are having a conversation and you go, Jen, I got to take this call. Jen, I got to go because somebody just walked up. Literally, bye, hang up, we're done, we'll talk later. That is how I function. I function. I will not give it a second thought. I won't think that you don't care about me. I won't think that you are making someone else more important. Like I won't give it a second thought because you have something else you need to do that you felt you needed to get off the phone. Like that, I again, do not take any of it personally. That is how I am when I'm with people. If I'm on the phone with you, Jesse, and I go, Jesse, I got to take this call. And then I bye, hang up, be done. I'll get, like I don't think about it. I'm not, bye, see you later. Which I'm going to do. Like that's not how I function. There are a lot of people that offends.
Yes.
And so I've realized that's how I am. And then so now I have to communicate that a little more sometimes than I want to, but I also know when I communicate it, it also helps people not get their feelings hurt.
Yes. Yes.
That's my one thing. And I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it can really put people sideways.
Yes. No, I completely agree. And I love that you pointed out is like when I communicate it, it helps people like minimize the amount of micro cuts that I'm making in the other person.
Mhm.
Because here's why. When I don't communicate like the thing, right? Like I'm not going to answer the phone because of whatever. People fill that blank space with their insecurity, with their assumptions, right? And so it's like really stop punching yourself, right? But because if I don't tell them like, hey man, I don't if I don't answer the phone, it's because I'm talking to somebody else or I'm just working on somebody else. And like you and I, hey Jen, I gotta go. Okay, bye, boom. I'm like, oh, that's such a relief for me because it just means I gotta go. And you've done the same, like, hey John, okay, cool, bye, and done. Let's move on. So I think communicating, helping people understand how we operate helps them understand, like have an expectation around like, okay, this has no other meaning except for they just got to get off the damn phone,
Yes.
right? Like it is okay because as human beings, we assign meaning to things. And folks, if you don't know that, I'm here to tell you, things don't have meaning in and of themselves. We assign meaning to things. When you get that email that pisses you off, is it because of the words that were in the email? Or is it because of all the white space that you filled your emotions and added meaning to? Same thing with the text. And so we have that power or skill to assign meaning to things. And so maybe a reasonable question to ask is, and I've had a friend do this. She was like, Jess, and she timed it. She's like, Jesse, you call me on like a 6-week cycle. If I don't call you, it'll be 6 weeks before you call and check in. I'm like, no. And she showed me. She's like, yep. I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? And she's like, Jesse, I want contact on like a 2 to 3 day cycle. Like that's the limit for me. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Her limit was 2 to 3. Mine was 6. And so the gap was a month of gap that she would fill in. I made Jesse mad. I pissed him off. He doesn't want to talk to me. Da, 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 da. And like, no, it's not that. I thought it was a week. I had no idea it was 6 weeks. And it's just a matter of like, that's how I function. Anyways, getting clear about that helps people understand, or at least minimize the amount of assumptions they plug into the empty space. So do that. Samantha says, how can I serve, support, and give? If I don't feel like I can commit to that approach with that person, then they aren't my people. 100%. I had another situation. Person needed contact multiple times a day. And I said, and the agreement, like let's set expectations, right? Like I don't want this was years ago. Like I am not a relationship guy. I'm not going to be sacrificing anything that I'm doing to nurture and grow this relationship into anything more than it is right now. Her response is like, it's okay. You're a fun guy. You like to dance. I like being around you. Like, we'll just hang out whenever we can hang out. Like, deal, let's go. Expectations were set, but that's not what she wanted. She wanted regular contact time, and I couldn't give it. It was stressful for me. It was irritating to me. And so I finally sat down and said, hey, look, we need to like stop this and either go back to being friends or just sever the whole thing. And she's like, what the hell? I said, look, you're an amazing person. We've been connected for years, but this problem here is only going to persist and make things worse. And so I'm not going to be able to do what you want me to do. And even if I tried, it's not going to be enough, which is going to piss me off and I'm going to resent you. And you're going to feel like I'm ignoring you and dismissing you. And I'm another one of those guys, which both things are not true. So let's just decide to like, I understand if you don't want to be friends anymore because of, whatever, but we can't do this anymore. And I was expecting to get cussed out and all the things. And she's like, Jess, you have no idea how many times I wish a man would have just said this to me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm off the hook. Not really. But even when you, I guess the point there is, even when we set expectations, actually performing to that standard is going to take work all the time. Like we set a standard, how do we get back to standard? When we don't have to worry about how to get back to standard, then maybe we can elevate the standard, right? And make those expectations a little more rigid or a little more enriching. Anyways.
Okay. Well, and so I want to add to what you said. Two things. It's like, to me, it sums it up. Say what you mean and respect what they say. Like, say what you mean. So don't get mad because someone's doing something that you weren't clear about. And then when someone says, this is what I expect, don't let your internal voice be like, yeah, but I'll change them. Yeah, but it'll be, I'll make it, I'll change the way they, like, that's how they are now. I'm sure I can, like, if that is your internal voice and you say, of course, Jesse, I'm good. That's on you. That's on you. 1,000%. That's on you. That is not on the person that gave you these very clear, here's where I'm functioning. And you just know, yeah, but I can probably make that different. Like, that's on you. Like, respect, like, say what you mean and respect what they say. And then if it go, whatever it does, like, that's the point of where you're starting to determine, is this a path I want to go down or is it not?
Yep. Miss Elizabeth says, yes, how you doing, Miss Elizabeth? This is the busy season for her. So hopefully she's getting some breathing room. She says, yep, you're so right. I have to go back and ask myself, was I mean or rude, right? Just,
yes.
And if somebody felt like that, have the conversation. And like, I'm going to tell you, I come across as extremely mean and rude, dismissive sometimes. And I've gone back to say, hey, I felt like I offended you in some way. That's not, here's the deal. And a lot of times they're like, oh, thanks, man. That I really did think you hated me. But there's a good percentage of time where they're like, yeah, and I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. I'm like, oh, okay. So then we won't talk, because that's how I talk.
Right? I'm telling you, it's that one thing, Jesse. It's, and you, and I have a feeling it's the same for you. If something happens and it's kind of needling in my head, like, ooh, I said this and I saw their response and we just kept going, but it's still in my head the next day or the next, like, ooh, I probably could have come across differently. If it stays with me, that's a phone call. That's a conversation. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, no, it really wasn't a big deal, but thank you. Like, I've not had someone go and get mad and angry because I followed up to go, hey, like, I said this, I didn't need to say it like that. I need to say that in front of the whole class. I should have said, like, just if it needles in me, I've got to, like, have a conversation. And it's, people respect that. Yes. And if it needles at you, there's something there. Like, even if it's just you needing to be able to make sure, hey, are we good? Yes, 100%. And so, folks, last call to make your comment if you've been lurking so that you can get in the randomizer. I'm going to read Alejandra's comment, and then I'm going to answer, like, what's the one commitment that makes a big difference in my relationships? So Alejandra says one of her biggest learnings is not to take things personally. Yes, that's hard, especially, like, I think it's easier for everybody else, Jen, because the world doesn't revolve around them, but it revolves around me. And so it's very difficult, but I'm working on it. It's really not my fault. It's not about me. People have many things going on that direct their actions. My mission is to be present, get to know people, connect, and all this will improve communication. So what I'm hearing there is that last statement, that last sentence, that's her commitment that makes the difference in the relationship. So thank you, Dr. Alejandra. My one commitment that has made the biggest difference in all of my relationships is to call out what I see. Like, it's not complicated. When I see potential promise in people, even if it sounds, most of the time they're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Chill out. I'm going to say it. This is what I see. This is what's standing out to me. When I see people that are poor form and maybe underserving themselves in the way they show up, I'm going to say, hey, I got a list of one side of the list that, like, these are good things. I got this other side of the list that conflict with this. Which one's real? I call out what I see. And that's not to say I'm the ultimate judge. It's just to say, this is what I see. Do you see it too?
that little thing has enriched and filtered out some really, really important relationships in my life. All right, so we ready to do the random?
Yes.
All right, so here we go.
See, how is it 9:05? I feel like we just started talking.
Man, it's because I love the sound of my own voice, Jen. That's why. That's what everybody says, anyways. Let me take that banner down. All right, folks, randomizer time. Oh, Samantha!
Yes! I'm so excited.
Right, oh, I love that so much for so many reasons. Miss Sam, I am not going to text you the invite because it'll sit there. I will email you the calendar invite. And Abbas, just so you know, Abbas won last week. And so Samantha and Abbas are going to be hanging out with the Emotional Bungee Jumpers and the Cultivation Crew. So, all right, let's do this. I don't know, Jen, where should we go next?
I mean, like we're gonna need a wrap, but I think leaving a question out would be good. Like wrapping with a question.
All right. I'm gonna pick a super simple one. How's that?
Okay. We like simple kinda.
Here it is. Do you think standards strengthen relationships or make them feel rigid? I mean, I think people know where I stand on this right now, Jen.
Yes.
But what do you think?
Well, my opinion is that standards strengthen relationships for people that want to be in those relationships. I think standards do not help relationships when one or both of those people are not committed to wanting or being in the relationship.
Can you, like, I don't know, example or go a little deeper?
Yeah, like if my standard is that random, okay, if my standard is when I'm traveling, I want to make sure that I hear from you before I go to bed because I want to make sure you're safe and we're good. If that's my standard, I need to make sure I'm communicating that. And this is what I need so that I'm good and we can be in this relationship together. If the other person, why do I have to call you? Why do I have to check in? Do you not trust me? Like when someone does not respect the standards that are important to me, it's not rigidity. It's not anything more than, in my mind, they don't want to be in this relationship. Like they're fighting something that they may not even own yet, or they may not even know. But there's a reason they're fighting something that's important to me.
Okay.
So to me, it's standards, to me, boundaries, whatever these are. If we're saying you need to communicate them so that we can be better at understanding each other, and then I communicate something and then you're defensive about it, or you don't feel that you should have to do certain things, then you don't need to be in a damn relationship. Like, I'm just going to say, because I'm going to own that I am not good with people putting things on me and putting expectations on me. And because of that, I get to make a choice that I'm not going to be in a relationship where expectations are being put on me that I'm not okay with.
Yes. Oh. Now, how does that feel, Jen, to like commit to that? Because that takes real massive commitment from you to say, this is the way I play.
Mm-hmm. How does it feel? It took a long time because at first I thought I was broken. Then I thought I had no empathy or no care or compassion. So I kind of had to work through some things on like, it does, just because I function this way and that I'm okay not being in an intimate relationship, like there is nothing wrong with me. And it took me a long time to get there because for the longest time, like this is what the world expects. So what is wrong with you, Jennifer? Why do you not want to have, all these things, all these worldly things that everyone else wants? Like I was broken and I had to get to a point to where like, no, right now, because I don't have those things, I am able to do all the things I'm doing. So it just took me a while to get there.
Yeah. No, I have been asked this question over the years, and I actually had this answer a long time ago, is what would you do if, right? Like, I think a lot of folks, rather, I've been told this many times, like, Jesse, you're so rigid. Like, to the point where one of my exes says, Jess, like, there's no doubt in my mind, you're finally going to find a life partner. And I'm like, oh, is it because I'm like accomplished and, now more thoughtful and caring and emotionally intelligent? And she says, no, it's because of all of the advancements they're making with AI. They're finally going to be able to program somebody that can put up with your crap. And like, that was a little stinky, but very, very true, because I am pretty rigid about something, or I've been told that. I don't feel like it's rigidity. I know that it helps keep me sane. It helps keep me sober, and it helps keep me serving people. And so that's why it's the way it is. Because I know when I deviate from it, I know what's going to happen. You're going to see more than naked feet on LinkedIn, and nobody's paying for that. Now, when I get asked, is like, well, what do you do? You're so rigid. What do you do when they violate, right? When people don't do or whatever? Like, oh, it's easy. Then I make a decision. Like, huh? Like, then I make a decision. Like, it's not, I know I've learned through many, many reps, putting in time and effort to make people conform to my, like Samantha said, to conform to my preferences. That's freaking misplaced energy.
Oh, 100%.
Right? It's just spinning my wheels, and I'm going to get more frustrated with them and wah. So I just make a decision. Do I start paring back the relation, like the commitment, my commitment to them? Do I start limiting their reach and access to me? Or do I just freaking cut it off and move on? Like, that is the decision. And I also make those decisions in the inverse, meaning this is amazing. This is going to work. I'm going to give more time. I'm going to be more available. I'm going to share more of myself. Like, I do meter that in both directions. But I think maybe what I want folks to take away from this conversation is having these expectations to set a standard in our relationship, right? We did sort, what do we need to sort out? Set, what do we need to put in place? What's the structure we need to build so the relationship can grow and flourish? Shine, how are we going to polish it up and make sure it's what we need it to be? Now we're talking about standardize. How do we standardize, create the standards for a healthy, thriving relationship? That, I want to be clear, that does not say, how do we create the standards for every single freaking damn relationship in the world with every damn person in the world to thrive and grow? No, that's not what I'm saying. What is the standards for the relationships that are reciprocal in terms of helping me grow and learn and contribute to the world? What is the standard to make those amazing? And part of that is the bigger part is I got to make the decision. I can't expect them to adhere and conform to Jesse Land. I have to be clear about who can play in Jesse Land and who can't. It's like James said, don't should on me. Like, I can't be shoulding. They should. Like, no, they shouldn't. Some people should, some people shouldn't. These are the games you want to play, come play. And if you don't, it's okay. There's other people to play with. So, closing thought, Jennifer Lacey.
Yes. Well, there's a couple. So I think the biggest one is, like, what do you choose? And I think we talked about a lot of things today. Some of you probably had them right on the tip of your tongue. Some of you are probably going, what is my commitment? What is my expectation? So my challenge is, what do you choose? Like, in your personal relationships, in your work relationships, like, how do you show up? What expectations are you putting out there that makes it very, very clear?
I like it.
Because I'm going to say it again, and I said it earlier. Mean what you say, that's what they say. Because if you are putting all of these other things in there, then they're not real. So what you're saying isn't real, and what they're saying, you're making it look different than what they're really saying. Mean what you say and respect what they say. And then you get to make a choice.
And make a choice. Yes. Oh, hang on a second. So I just dropped the link for the after party. So folks, if you want to cuss us out, tell me I'm a dummy, call me out for not responding to the text, emails, and voicemails and all the things, because yes, I have done that. Come to the after party. The link is in the comments. This way we get to hear your insights, get your takeaways from today's conversation, and it always informs our next conversation. And we already kind of have a rough framework. Here's our massive agenda for the next conversation. Sustain. How do we sustain these things in our relationships? That's what it's going to be. All the other little granular stuff, we need you on the after party to help us make sure we're talking about the things you care about. So 5 minutes, the links are in the things. Click the link, be on the thing. Appreciate you, and we'll see y'all next time. Chicken.